Tom, I don't know whether you're there, Tom, or not. I'm not sure, but I can see
I'm
your
here.
image. You're
Yep,
there?
I'm here. Yeah.
Well, thank you very much, Tom. I know it's very early in the morning for you. I appreciate it. Okay.
I thought I'd surprise you.
You did. You did.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. And Anna's just joining. Hey, Anna. Our focus today is to share a business challenge that you have faced and overcome, right? A business challenge, whatever it is that you have faced and overcome. And I'm doing it in order of people who arrived here. See, Gary, it's good to come out early, right? Penny, and then Gary, then Mitali, right? Sandy, Fred, John, Carol, Neha, Thomas, and Anna. Okay, so without any further ado, let's start with you, Penny, and share with us a business challenge that you faced and you've overcome, because people can learn from all our experiences.
Good morning, everybody. So my business, the biggest one that I've overcome, and I still struggle with it at times, depending on my mood, I guess. Just got to learn to shrug it off, is being attached to the outcome. So when I first started, when people would say no, I would feel that it was something I said wrong, something I did wrong, even though they would say, not necessarily, right? It's just not good timing, or I'm not into all natural products, or whatever. I took it as excuses. And so then I would kind of dwell and fall back. And then I don't know, something just switched, and I can't even tell you exactly when. I just got the attitude of, okay, great. You didn't waste my time. I'm moving on to the next person. And I don't know what exactly caused that, other than I would beat myself up a lot. And I went, enough's enough. Like, I can't take everything personally. And since that has happened, not being attached to the outcome, it gives me the time, freedom, and positivity within myself to move on to the next person who may say yes. Or that person who said no that I beat myself up over ended up coming back saying, you know what, maybe I'll give it a try. So I just had to learn to not be attached to the outcome and beat myself up about it. More personal development, I guess, more than anything.
Thank you, Penny. And when you say taking things personally, right? Because that's what you were doing. I'm quoting you, taking things personally. Are you assuming, am I assuming correctly that there was a fear involved with this, correct?
No, it wasn't a fear. It was a negative thought about myself. So what did I say wrong? What did I do wrong? I can't do this. And it was all about I, okay. Instead of, wait, okay, they were upfront, they were honest. I need to move on. It's not necessarily anything I said or did. I know what I have to offer is good.
Yeah. So
then it was just an outlook towards myself. I always took it as, you know how you can get 10 good comments and praises, but as soon as a person gives you one negative, you dwell on that negative. And that's what I was doing with the no's. So now I have a mission of, let's see how many no's I can get so I can move on.
Which is not an easy thing for people to do, Penny, right?
It wasn't. It took me 3 years to do this, right? And I still have my times when I really want to help somebody and they say no. But I got to remember within myself that I'm still here for them. And I just want to help them. Unfortunately, or fortunately, that is not their time at that point.
So rather than a matter of fear, it was really a matter of self-doubt and confidence.
That's true.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Penny. Anyone got a question for Penny?
I don't have a question, but I just want to say, Penny, you sent me a link of, the products that you do. I thought they were brilliant. So I will be in touch. It's a bit crazy busy over the next couple of months for me with the book launch and everything. But after that, what I'd like to do is, maybe do demonstrations of your products and, post them on social media and doing that stuff like that, because I'm doing that for somebody else in the UK. So I thought I'd love to do that for you as well, and hopefully just get the word out about your products.
Oh, that would be awesome. Thanks, sweetheart.
That is really good, Mitali. Well done. Gary.
But before you jump, sorry to interrupt. This is Tom. Yeah, I'm, personally just getting into, as Peter knows, into kind of the health side of things too. And I'm curious, just like in, 30,000 foot level, what are your products, or what is it that you're involved with, Penny?
So it's everyday essentials. We got a couple hero products, but it's everyday essentials like shampoo, conditioner, deodorant, cleaning products that are all organic, 100% natural, gray water safe. And so that nobody can ever overdose. If your kids get into, I don't know, the laundry soap, they could drink the bottle, they're not going to die. Your pets, if they get into it. That kind of stuff. The hero products are things like collagen, BioCell, which are molecules in that particular collagen is the exact replica that's in your body. So it's the only one in the world at this point that is the exact replica. And the microcorals are so small that it absorbs at 99% rate instead of like a powder collagen that absorbs at 30% rate. So for like sore joints. So that's just one of our hero products. Our weight loss products have CLA and HA in it. So it really helps, even if you're not working out or wanting to lose weight, it helps to repair muscle. As you probably already know, that as we age, we lose collagen starting at age 20. As we age, we lose muscle mass starting at age 30. So it's very important to keep that muscle mass and collagen in, like even in your eyes, the glossiness in your eyes, that's collagen HA.
Okay.
So it's just products like that. It's everyday use products.
Cool. Thank you. Appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Gary, you had a question?
Yeah, just mainly an observation, but you obviously over the, when someone, like, I can call it rejection, I know it's a bit of a strong word, but I'll tell you what I used to do is before I would hop on a sales call, what I would do is look at all my testimonials and read them in advance, because it gets you in a positive mindset. And then when someone says no, it just bounces off you. It's just a really good tactic to use. But I'm of the same thinking of you. It's a numbers game, and I have my percentages worked out. And as soon as I've got the no, it's right. Well, I only need a few more no's before I get a yes. So it's just a matter of thinking positive. But yeah, but I've been exactly where you have been at, and to come through it is quite good. It's quite good to come through it and not care when you get a no. That's when it's great.
Well, it's not that I don't care, because sometimes it still upsets me, but it's more easily to be shrugged off now. And in fact, I actually thank them because they were honest and didn't just string me along and waste time, right? Their time or my time.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And there's always something to be learned in a conversation and meeting new people, always.
Sandy.
Yeah, I've just putting a course together on this particular item you're talking about. And one of the things that comes into play is, especially on Messenger, where you get people picture right away, is, and you don't really build any relationship. So a couple things that we do is we just actually compliment them right away. And then kind of maybe, depending on what they're talking about, indicate that you or a friend of yours have already recommended that product and you've signed up with somebody else. And then you could possibly say, however, is there anything I can help you with? So it seems to work for me. I get all kinds of people that do that. Most of them are doing it because somebody's told them to do it, or they just don't know how to, work on Messenger properly. But yeah, I've experienced it many times. But I have got orders as well, just like you said. They've come back, right? Because I treated them professionally, didn't shut them down, And I think the key from the whole thing would be just treat them professionally, and you can't go wrong.
Actually, I'll make one comment, Penny.
Yeah.
That you mentioned just collecting those because you'll get a yes sooner. To me, that's a bit soul destroying. I really think it is. Even though you're stronger now, it's still a bit soul destroying. It's a lot easier to have people reach out to you than you reaching out to them, if it's possible. You'd agree with that, right?
Yes, I
Yeah.
do.
Well, these people are all reaching out to me, but when they get to me, and they automatically start doing a pitch without even knowing who I am, not telling me anything about themselves, that kind of thing, right? That's what.
Well, they'd probably be a client you don't want anyway, Sandy.
Well, the thing is, the easiest thing is you can block them, or another way is you don't know where it might go. So I think I try to treat them in what I'll call a professional manner, polite manner. That's all.
Okay. Yeah. All right. We'll move on. Thank you, Penny. Thanks for that. Gary, your call, my man.
Yeah, this is quite a good subject. I remember when I first started out my digital agency, so I was really struggling to get clients initially. So what I decided to do was to speed up slow websites, because it's an easy fix, because it's only smallish money. So what I did, I went on to local businesses and I just put the website address through a speed checker, and then it tells you what's wrong with it, and I know how to fix it. And what I decided to do initially was start off at a low price. I thought if I go under 100 euros, I'll get loads of work. So I went in at 97, I think was the magic number. We all see the 97, it's not 99 anymore. And I got a little bit of work, and it would have probably, an average would have taken me 2 hours to do. So, in, out, gone, money got. And then I decided, then it all kind of went quiet for a week. And then I decided to double my price, because I thought, I kind of got out the mindset of value, and I realized that I was providing more value. And the funny thing happened was, when I doubled it, I got more work. It was, the opposite of what I thought. Sometimes you think that the cheapest price is the best price, but it's not. But because it was more expensive, people assumed I knew what I was doing. When it's too cheap, people, think it looks crap. It's just a funny way of thinking. I just generally found that just amazing, and I've never lost that. And I think that the key point that I'm trying to get at here is keep your prices up, because if you're too low, you end up having a job. You really do. You end up working for, depending on what your line of work is, you have so many different bosses. But when you're nice and high, you kind of work for yourself. That's the true meaning of being a business owner, I think.
Gary, I can truly resonate with that. In our Thai silk business, when we first started off, because it's handmade, right, organic, no chemicals involved. I'm not trying to pitch it to you, I'm just saying that's what it is.
Yeah.
And we were charging $15 a meter, right?
Yeah.
Which was very low. I mean, and that includes wedding gown material, etc. And people said it's just stupid. But that was because we're in a little village. We didn't have many expenses, right? And it was covering our costs, and we were making about, I think the markup was about 10%, right? Whatever it was. Mm-hmm. But we weren't getting that many sales. But then we looked at it after we got the feedback from some of our customers, okay? And we looked at the prices being charged for Italian silk, et cetera, not so much Chinese silk, because that's, or machine-made silk, only handmade silk, okay? Horses for courses, right? And the Italian silk was selling for $175 a meter. And we thought, holy dooly, $175 a meter. So we started charging, and we were very hesitant, we started charging $100 a meter. And we got more sales. And we inched it up to $125 a meter, and we got more sales, because people then equated the actual price with the perceived value they had in their head. Because before we were undermining ourselves. So yeah, I mean, we shouldn't really sell on price. So I'm just giving this as a specific example, all right? But yeah. Any questions for Gary?
I'm in there as well, Peter, because last year I had a client that we had to revamp their website. Mm-hmm. And I went and gave him a price, and his comment was, "Is that all?" And I go, "Shit, I should have charged more."
Yeah, true.
So sometimes, it's what the market will bear or what the client will bear.
Mm-hmm. And it's also how much you believe in the service that you offer.
Yeah.
And the impact that you can bring, the transformation you can bring to someone, whatever it may be. And if you truly believe in that, then really it's the investment they're making in themselves rather than the price you're charging. That's how I think you should feel anyway. Any other questions for Gary?
Yeah, this is Tom again. Just a real quick comment. You know, I'm kind of in the same spot as you were many years ago. I was originally trained to do a web analysis of a client's website as kind of a lead in, and I'd produce this 10-page report of all the things that are bad with their website, but I did it for free as, you know, hey, you know, here's this valuable thing I'm giving you for free. And that rarely turned into sales. And so then I started charging $150 for it. And it's like, oh, wow, people are starting to write me a check for this. And then it's like, well, screw it. I'm just going to throw caution to the wind. And I started charging $500 for my analysis. And people were like, oh, okay, sure. Here's $500. Now tell me what to do next. And those ended up turning into clients more than the free version that I was handing out. So it was like, wow, I couldn't believe it.
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah. It's a great idea. Yeah, I like it.
Any other questions for Gary?
I was just going to say people buy value, they don't buy price. Price is fourth or fifth down on the line when people go shopping. Their big thing is what's in it for me. So again, deal with the value.
Yeah.
And it's actually more than that. It's actually perceived value. So it's what they think it's worth.
Yep.
Good point.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
Thank you very much, Gary. Mitali.
Hello. So the question was, share a business challenge you've faced and overcome. Okay, so for me, it would be being the face of my business. That was a big challenge for me last year because, you know, as a ghostwriter, as a copywriter, you're behind the scenes, and that's your job, is to be behind the scenes. And I quite liked being behind the scenes, to be honest. So yeah, Peter knows my journey. I think he saw my very first live where I was literally shaking. I can barely get my words out, and you know, but now I just do them like this is the most normal thing in the world. So yeah, the challenge for me was just being the face of my business. I've got a very good friend who is a backup singer, session singer. She's got a fabulous voice, as you can imagine. And a few years ago, I said to her, why have you never thought about being a lead singer? You're good enough. Your voice is amazing. So why wouldn't you do that? Thinking she would say, well, I've just not had the opportunity or blah, 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 that kind of thing. I don't have the right look. She's beautiful, by the way, but I thought she would come out with something like that. And she said, it's physically only 2 meters away from me. So where she stands as a backup singer and where the lead singer stands in the studio is less than 2 meters distance. But she said, physically it's 2 meters, but emotionally and mentally, it might as well be a chasm. I'm not comfortable with eyes trained on me. I prefer being the person who harmonizes with the lead singer's voice than someone who is the lead singer, even though I have the talent to be a lead singer. I never understood what you meant until 2020. And now I get it. The difference between being a ghostwriter of 7 books and now being an author of a book is like night and day. I've been having sleepless nights, not been sleeping very well these last few weeks. And I'm thinking, oh my God, my book's going to be out on the 19th of February. Or if I fail dramatically and all that kind of thing. But how I overcome it is to just do it. That's the only way to overcome imposter syndrome. That's essentially what it is, imposter syndrome. And the only way to overcome it is just by doing it. There is no magic bullet. Just do the damn thing. Whatever it is you're afraid of, just do it. And then it goes away eventually. So yeah, that's my challenge.
Good. Thank you, Mitali. Any questions for Mitali? Because imposter syndrome is a real issue. There's no doubt about that. Gary.
I find that kind of hard to believe. I'm not doubting you because I've seen you do a LinkedIn video, and you're a natural in front of the camera. I just imagine that you went and done a Facebook Live and you just nailed it straight away. You've been doing it all your life.
Scroll down my feed, Gary, to September and look at those lives, and you might have I even did them outside. So I was walking in a park while doing these lives. The first few lives I did them walking, and the reason I did that was I couldn't do this. Well, I'm looking at you straight through the screen now. I couldn't even do that. So I thought, if I just have a selfie stick and I'm walking and talking, then I'm just glancing at my phone, and then obviously I need to look where I'm going, otherwise I'm going to hit something. So that made me feel better, because I was walking and talking at the same time. I couldn't even do this. And that was just in September, October of last year. But yeah, I'm the perfect example of, if you're afraid of something, just keep doing the thing again and again. And slowly over time, it loses its grip on you, to the point now where I can just go on a live without any preparation and I'm fine.
Yeah, it's a little bit like going to the dentist. When you go to the dentist, you kind of get a little bit scared, apprehensive beforehand. And then after you've done it, you feel really good. And it's all fear. It's all in your head beforehand, isn't it? Yeah.
Well, I'm a former dental nurse, so yeah.
There we go.
Okay, thank you very much, Mitali. By the way, and I can relate to that as well. I mean, I've done 675 Facebook Lives, right? But I can recall many years ago, before Facebook Live appeared, we had Skype, and we had a internet connection system that was far from being anything like normal. It was strung through the coconut trees and goodness knows what. You never knew whether you're going to go online or not. And I was petrified about looking unprofessional, this sort of stuff. And many times I tried to go on Skype to talk to potential customers, and I'd disappear. Just completely disappear. And I was feeling really terrible about that, and feeling like, how? No one's going to deal with you at all, right? And then for some strange reason, I thought, oh, bugger this. I mean, at the end of the day, I'm stuck in a remote little Thai village. We have very limited infrastructure, but I turned that into a positive by having people. I shared with them behind the scenes things. I actually showed them exactly how we got the internet into the house, and they couldn't believe all the wires and rubbish that they saw strung through the coconut trees. And at the end of the day, what was a negative in terms of me trying to look professional and to be perfect, instead become imperfect, and people accept who you are, right? So the imposter syndrome disappeared. And strangely enough, when that happened, guess what? Skype used to work for me. Now, I don't know what the connection is, but Skype used to work for me. And not only that, I could record on Skype. I can't remember the software we had in those days, but whatever it was. But this was pre-smartphones, pre-Zoom and all this sort of stuff, right? So I can relate to you, Mitali. I can.
I was going to say, Gary, did you say about reading what other people have said about you to build yourself up? And I've been doing that a lot. So, whenever I'm having a sleepless night, I look at all the testimonials that my beta readers wrote for me to go on my website. And then that kind of helps me go back to sleep. So I've been doing that just to make myself feel better. So yeah, that really works, because you forget, you go into your head. And logically, it makes no sense. I'm just thinking, my book has been read by 10 industry leaders, and they've all said they've given me feedback on what wasn't good in it. So I've input all of their feedback into the final draft of my book. So I know my book is great, but logically and emotionally, I'm just thinking, oh my God, it's everyone's going to hate it and think, what on earth is this monstrosity and that kind of thing. And yeah, that's a good tip. I've been doing that, reading the testimonials, and it's just helping me ease my fears a little bit.
Yeah, good.
Great tip, Gary. Great tip. Welcome, Lisa. Nice to see you. Okay. Thank you, Mitali. Sandy Murray.
Yeah. So let me tell you one of the things that just this week that I'd been struggling with, and what it was that I sort of got caught into that trap, or maybe it's just the fact that I really didn't know about sharing links with Facebook. And as you know, Facebook does not like you sharing links. It doesn't like you to take people away from the platform. So I did a little research, did a little bit of study, and I found out that a way you can resolve that problem is by going to Google Docs and putting a document together, and within that document, you put your link. So you do a little bit of a thesis, and then you'll put your link in there. Now, when you go back to Facebook, then you gather the shared link that's in the Google Docs. You go back to Facebook and you take that link and you put that into Facebook. Now, Facebook knows and loves Google. So that particular link will be opened by somebody. It'll take them to your document, and then they'll read the copy, and then they'll open the link there. So I found that to be really valuable. And I also did a Facebook Live on that the other day. And but I was just going to say is that, Facebook Lives, I was doing a Zoom the other day, and somebody said, would I be the presenter? And of course, you know what they want me to talk about? Facebook Lives. So I'm going to be doing a presentation on Facebook Lives. Anyway, that's just something that, and I'm always learning something new, but that one I thought was really interesting. I don't know if it makes sense to everybody, but
it's interesting, Sandy, because I'm surprised at the comment you made that Facebook loves Google. I would have thought the opposite, saying Google owns YouTube, they're one of the biggest competitors to Facebook. But that was only my assumption, by the way. I have no idea.
No, I can't tell. Well, let me say this to you is I didn't believe that either, except that the course material that I took it to learn about that method, that the gentleman said, Facebook does recognize Google and they don't have a problem sharing Google through Google.
It works, which is good.
Yeah, it's just something to keep in mind.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Sandy.
Okay.
Fred. Oh, any questions for Sandy? Sorry. Okay.
Great tip. Thank you.
Okay, good. Thanks, John. Fred, over to you.
Yeah, I'm probably a bit like Mitali. One of the problems I had, obviously, with COVID was what am I going to do, or how are we going to get more business? And it was pivoting basically to promote myself online, which I haven't really done previously because it was all local promotions. You go to network meetings or get local referrals and build business that way. So, and then with the new, not new technology, but current technology with going live, I've always been behind the camera and, I take videos. My wife's got online courses and I man the camera to take those because she's a better head for camera than I have. So, I film her. But the idea, if I had have looked at myself 12 months ago and said I'd be actually doing this or going on camera, the answer would have been no way. I'm just not for me. So that was a huge move for me and that's in less than 12 months, just coming out from behind the scenes, getting out there, and still not very comfortable doing lives on my own profile. I'll do them in my group, all right, but getting up on my profile, and that's a bit about the friends seeing you on there and all the rest. And I know it's all in the head because the people that see you, that are your friends, see you every day anyway. So there's no difference, but it's just getting that mindset right to get on the camera and just do it, and I'm getting there, but it's a little bit slower than I'd hoped, but we'll get there.
And Fred, it's interesting because earlier Penny said a comment about she mentioned comments and the 9 or 10 really good comments you get, you just skim over, you appreciate it. Then you get one comment that's not so good and you focus all your attention and your feelings on that one comment. And that happened to me with my very first Facebook Live, okay? And I focused on that comment. I'm thinking, and I couldn't get out of my head. And I'm not lacking in confidence, right? But I knew it was not all that brilliant at Facebook Live because it was the first one. And knowing my technical expertise, you'd understand that. But this guy's comment sat with me for a month. I mean, how stupid can you be? So I appreciate where you're coming from, Fred.
Yep.
But I want to ask you one question. How did you overcome it? The actual fear of getting on camera. What was the one thing that turned it around for you?
I suppose it's I jumped on a couple of challenges online where they actually, you went on live challenges, and and you were in a confined group of people that were all in a similar situation. Yeah. So, you know, you had your peers helping you along the way. So, but you were in a closed environment. So it was live, but you were actually in that closed group. So it wasn't open to the world. And then suddenly, like now, I do it in my group and I do a lesser amount on my profile, but I'm starting to build up that. So that's starting to open up, like the flower in the background on the other, you know, the other live we got there. But so it started to open up and hopefully open up more opportunities for me as well.
Thank you, Fred. Thank you for being so honest, mate. I appreciate that. Really do. Yeah, no. Any other comments? Okay. Sandy.
Yeah, no, I was just going to say is that once I realized that, you know, my business, I was the brand. And, you know, once I recognized that, then I said, well, you know, I mean, I just got to get out there. I've just got to break through the same fears. I had all the same fears as far as talking, being online. I don't know. It was like you said, I did go through the challenges, and I recommend it to anybody that's trying to break through that fear. Is they have challenges online where you can actually have a group that you're comfortable with, and you actually just practice. And after a while, it's just what happens is just be you, you're fine. And then your brand will start to take off like crazy just because of the fact that they like you or what you say, or that they see that you're just, you know, a straight shooter. So, yeah, I understand what you're saying, though. I've been there, done that. A lot of fun.
Thank you, Sandy. Anyone else got a question for Fred or a comment? Mitali.
It's not really a question, Fred. It's just empathize. I know exactly what you're going through. So, yeah, just keep doing it. The one thing I've noticed, what you said about, especially on Facebook, because LinkedIn really is a professional network, and you tend not to be linked with your friends and family on LinkedIn. Whereas Facebook, you are linked in with everybody. I mean, you're linked in with the person that you had, you know, a crush on when you were 14 years old, and somehow you've ended up being friends on Facebook. And there's literally people from your whole past that are on your Facebook. So I get it. It was daunting for me starting to do lives, because I was just thinking, what are these people going to think? I even thought about creating a separate profile on Facebook just for business. And I was told that would be stupid because it'd be such a new profile, it wouldn't gain traction. And you have more authority and believability if you use the profile that you've had since 2010 or wherever you went on Facebook. So I bit the bullet and started doing lives on my profile. One thing I've noticed, Fred, is however many likes or comments you get on your live, I would multiply by at least 10 by the number of people who are actually watching it, silently watching it, and they don't do anything, but they watch it. A lot of them will be your friends and family who are incredibly impressed by you. I was surprised to have people who've got nothing to do with my business, people from high school and university and things like that. And then obviously we've just had Christmas and New Year. So this is a time when you say hello to people that you normally never say hello to until the following Christmas and New Year again. So I did my rounds of, hey, Happy New Year, Merry Christmas, that kind of thing. And the messages got back, oh my God, I've been watching your lives. You sound amazing. I mean, your business. I'm like, say hello, please. If you're going to watch my live, do something, you know, hit a like or something. Yeah. But people are silently watching you and they're very impressed, especially if they're not in business and they use Facebook mainly for just saying hello with friends and family. Watching you do what you do, they'll be like, wow, look at Fred doing that. I was really amazed how people kind of saw me. My friends and family saw me in a completely different way. I've got a whole village in India who think I'm some sort of spokesperson for Newcastle or something like that now. They really do. And they're like, you're doing, and I'm like, yeah, it's just me talking on my live, but they genuinely think like I'm on TV or something like that. So just keep doing it.
Oh, yeah, you're the Oprah of Facebook.
I am. Well, of Newcastle anyway. I'm not sure about Facebook. That would be a bit big-headed, but definitely of Newcastle, absolutely.
It's a good point, Mitali, because you never know who's watching. You never know. whether it's 10 times the number of comments or 50, who knows? But I think you will all experience that. So do not ever judge your success according to the number of comments on your live. And that's the point Mitali, I presume, is also making, correct?
Yeah, no, I get that. And I started to go for a walk last month. I've stopped this month, but I started to go for a walk every morning and doing a little bit of a live during the walk. And what Natalia said there was that, the people that responded by text later was amazing. People, like I said, haven't spoken to you for a couple of years and go, oh, I saw you on Facebook. Hey, how's it going, buddy? And rekindle those friendships again. So it's been good.
Excellent. Neha, you had a question too? Neha?
Yeah, not necessarily. Yes, sort of a question, and not necessarily only for Fred, but anybody who would love to share their ideas on this, because like I have the same problem as Fred. I go live in my page. I don't really interact in my groups, and I've just kind of stalled them, put them aside. And I hesitate to go live on my profile because I feel that they're not my audience. They're just not my audience. Like I have so many people, but then I don't bother. And then when I post something, it's like crickets. So then who is going to bother being there and, just come on my live, and who cares? So I'd rather go on my pages, like the ones that people know and like and know what I'm talking about, and public speaking, relationships, everything. So who's going to be bothered about that on my my profile?
Thanks.
I wonder.
Lisa?
Yeah, I'm not sure if it'll actually respond directly to the question, but this is what I've been experimenting a little bit between my profile, my page, and discussion groups. And what I find is a big difference in the amount of engagement I get from my audiences. And I started discussion groups inspired by Peter, and I find I get a lot more engagement there. So I did 2 live Facebook Lives where I was interviewing people for a behind the scenes recording. And on my page, I got maybe I don't even know if I got a like, maybe an engagement, whatever that is. And then on discussion group, I got a ton of comments. I got engagement, I got views, much better than I had on my page. And when I do them on my profile, it's kind of in between, it depends, right? So I'm wondering, and it's a lot of the same people. So I'm wondering if the algorithms are affecting it. Of course, if you're doing it on your page, they want you to boost it, but you can't really boost videos all the time. Personally, what I've experienced is if I want engagement, is focus on growing the group, and they seem to be more engaged, and it's very similar talks. So that's what I've noticed in the last little while. I don't know if that's helpful or not, but
that's actually funny, because what I've started to do just in the last couple of days was to post a live on the page, but then actually share it into the group, to my group and to my profile. So, and the reason for that is for testing. So I'm doing a little bit of A/B testing on that to see what kind of results we get. So maybe next week I can report back on that and see what results we got.
Look forward to that, Fred, because if you're getting more than a 1% response rate on your page, you're doing well, to be quite frank. That's what Facebook wants you to pay.
The rumours I've heard is that Facebook are actually starting to go to push pages again.
Yes. Okay, we'll see what happens.
So, and that's what I've heard on some of the grapevine, and really I'm taking somebody else's. They are doing something similar to what I did. So and it's repurposing content. It's just, so you don't do a different video on the page and a different one on the profile. You just do the one, but then share it. And
please share with us what your results are, Fred. I'd like to hear that.
Yeah, no, cool, easy.
Good. Penny, you had a question as well?
Just kind of elaborating on what Mitali said, the ghost watcher thing. So 2 weeks ago, well, January 8th, actually, I went for a massage, and one of the girls there said to me, oh, have you met, Earl. And I said, no. And Earl comes along, gives me this big hug and says, oh, hey, Penny, how's it going? And I'm like, do I know you from somewhere? And he said, I've been watching you for 4 years. And I'm like, what? He's never liked, comment, nothing. I had no idea who this person is. And then on the 12th, when we were in the city, I had this person come up and give me this big hug. And I'm like, was shocked, right? Because I'm very shy and COVID and hula hoop and whatever. And they're like talking to me like they knew me, like they were a long lost friend. Finally, I said, I'm sorry, do I know you? And they said, oh, yes, you do. I've been your Facebook friend for 3 years and I've been watching you. Both of them became customers and very good customers at this point. And I didn't even know these people existed. So yeah, it is a kind of a unique thing how it works out. You may not even see these people on there because they don't comment, but they are watching, these ghost watchers.
And you are building your value, right?
Yep.
Yeah, good. Someone else had a question. Mitali, yeah, question?
Yeah, absolutely right, Penny. I mean, I'm amazed with the number of people say I've been watching it for the last few months, and I go, well, do something, please. Can you please give me a like? Like that takes you how much effort does that take? Like not 1 kilojoule to hit a like button, but they do. They just watch you silently. And I just had a guy who's decided to be a student of mine in March, never commented or liked any of my videos, been watching them for 3 months, and he's like, yeah, I'd like to write a book with you. So he's starting in March. Never liked any of my videos or commented or anything. So yeah, it happens. I was just going to say to Neha, if she's still there, I know, but her page has gone blank. But what I found was, oh hello, I just feel like I outed you there. It's like you had to come back just for me. I don't know if business pages are going to get a push, like Fred said, in the future. They may do, because Facebook just changes every year what they're doing. But my experience of pages are they haven't been pushed very much at all. So going live in them compared to going live on your profile is like night and day. I really wouldn't worry about going live on your profile. You know, you said you're worried about, I think in your mind, what you're thinking is, oh, I need to go. It's almost like in real life, you will go and give a speech at this niche meeting where people know what you're doing, but you wouldn't just stand up in a town square and start talking about whatever you're doing, because you'll probably be seen as a bit of a Fruit Loop, really. So you're kind of thinking the real life and taking it onto Facebook, but it doesn't work that way online. You can put all your stuff on your profile. People can scroll past it if they're not interested in it. They're not being forced to listen to it anyway. So it's only going to be stopped by people who actually are resonating with your message. So don't worry about, oh my God, I'm going live to all these people and loads of them are just friends and family and people that I met in a bar 3 years ago and whatever. The people who are not interested, they'll scroll past you anyway. Just to get extra reach, this is something like a little tip that I kind of figured out in my head. So last year, Facebook were really pushing lives. So as soon as you go live, they send a notification out to pretty much everybody saying, hey, this person's gone live. And they were also pushing stories, but I'm quite lazy by nature. So I was like, I can't be bothered to do a live every day and then create a story as well. So what I do is I do the live. And then once the live is on my profile after I've finished, I then share it as a story. And I found that works really well. So it's already going live. So people are like getting a notification. And then people who missed it, they're seeing my story. They click on my story and they end up on the recording of my live. So I just pretty much do that 5 times a week. And that's worked really well for me.
Nice. Thank you, Mitali.
Thanks, Mitali.
All righty. Thank you very much, Fred, for that and for all the comments. John Allen, you're next.
Hi, everyone. Wow, there's a lot of great stuff being shared today. One of the biggest challenges I had to overcome was I was writing headlines and what have you that were too long to attract people. So after dealing with Peter, he said, write some curiosity-grabbing headlines. I've been trying that, and I've just been using LinkedIn. And this week alone, I've generated 8 discovery calls, and 4 of them are going to be today. So I've got to be off the call because at 9 o'clock, I've got one there. So just short curiosity headlines are really grabbing people's attention. You know, one of the ones I used is, don't let COVID and the government kill your business. Got a ton of response for that headline. So, you know, use something to grab people's attention and you'll find it can really help your business.
Okay, thank you, John. Any questions for John? Because he's got limited time. I appreciate you got to go and have a call. Okay. Because isn't that out of curiosity?
I just got one. Is John only using LinkedIn for lead generation?
That's all I've been currently using. I've been hesitant because about Facebook or whatever, and listening to everybody about the live. Now I'm getting kind of build up the courage here to get in front of that camera. Now,
come on board.
Love
John.
it. Go for it, John.
Yeah, come on.
You're the man. I'm going to be looking for you.
Now, John, until you do, I'm just going to prod you every single day saying, John, where are you? Where are you?
Yes.
Where are you? Every single day until you do a live.
Waiting to hear you.
start that on Monday. Today's too busy.
No excuses.
You've got 10 people now. You've just said it in front of them. They're going to hold you accountable.
Well, that's good, and I'm serious about Monday because there's 4 calls today. So
Okay.
the doing the live won't be today.
Good luck with the calls. And thank you.
Thank you.
Good stuff. And if you have to go, I appreciate that. I understand. Carol, over to you.
Just had to unmute myself. I have a kitty cat in the background who's just been singing and howling, so hopefully she's quiet for now. So the biggest challenge I had was a few years back, and I'm the type of person who gives too much. So I was, when I used to work in a full-time regular job in a large organization, and I was in a middle management position, and I used to help the person who was my team leader out quite a lot. And we had a big meeting coming up, and I had to get everything organized and notes and, the structure, everything. And I kept saying, well, we have to do this. We need to do this. So we had a short meeting just before the meeting was going to go live. And I was burbling over with all my suggestions. And she just looked me in the face and she said, Carol, she said, you're being too helpful. Just stop it. It stopped me dead because I thought it was like a sin or something. And she just really was cool to me. Well, I have to tell you, that crushed me. And it was a memory I still have and I can remember. I felt like it was, what did I do? I was only trying to give of myself. Then I realized over time, did some work on myself, that I'd been always giving everything and not taking the time for like, well, what am I doing with my time that's good for me? And actually, I'm thankful to her now. I wasn't at the time. I really, really was tremendously upset about that. Then I thought, well, okay, so you're known for being maybe over helpful or too giving. Why is that horrible? It's not really. But I stopped the behavior, and now I try to look at situations where I need to contribute, especially in my business. Is it going to advance me further? Yes, I can do things to help others, but I need to help myself. And I know over the past year with COVID, I've had a real problem, a bit like Mitali. I like to be behind the scenes, invisible, and now I'm making that push to get more visible. It's been like pulling teeth. In fact, actually pulling teeth is easier. And as people have suggested, being in some different Facebook groups, trying it out, I've been dabbling my toes, and that's my way of giving to myself now. I'm doing it at my pace, getting visible. And I think it was John, one person said, you are your brand. So, doing it locally, I was comfortable with that. But now that's not possible because if you don't meet, in Zooms locally, you don't meet local people really, because most people are not hanging out at the grocery store waiting for me to go in and get my few purchases. So I learned from that. It's so important for my own development and standing up for myself is just do what is most important for Carol to advance in life, both in business and personally. And I've had a much better success rate, and I've liked myself better, actually. So it was a huge lesson for me to learn. It was a few years back, but I'm really grateful now that that person said it. But I used to tell it like a a funny story, and it is funny, but it was pretty painful at the time. But I've moved through that.
Carol, thank you, because that is something that is a very important thing for many people to overcome. I appreciate you sharing that. Anyone got any comments on that? Because that's an issue that many people face.
I just think that's wonderful, Carol, that you had that insight that, you know, you need to look after yourself, right? Because if we don't look after ourselves, who will? And I think it's such an important message that you shared this so openly and from the heart. And I believe it'll help others to really reflect on, you know, how we're showing up, because it's true. It's amazing to help others, but if we're not helping ourselves at the same time, then we get depleted. And then at one point you just burn out, and then you find that maybe not others are so inclined to come and help you out. So definitely, you know, being our best advocate and our best help is so important. So thank you for sharing that, Carol.
Thank you, Lisa. And Carol, when you burn out, you can't give anyway, right?
Oh.
Food for thought. Well done. Neha, if you're there, Neha's going silent on us because she has a real challenge with Zoom in terms of bandwidth, etc. Can you hear us? Oh, there you are, Neha. By the way, before we start with Neha, she and I met just recently. We couldn't get together, could we, on Zoom? We couldn't make the darn thing work, right? And Hong Kong's infrastructure is not as good as my Thai village. I had to say that. But we found Google Meet a really good way to do it, which is the old Google Hangouts, right? So we met on Google Meet, and Neha, you had no problems, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So if you're having a problem with Zoom, have a look at Google Meet, and you can even. I'm not promoting it. I don't have any interest in it, but I think you can do nearly everything you can do on Zoom with Google Meet. So if you're having a problem with Zoom, try that. Anyway, Neha, thank you for joining us, and I appreciate the challenges you've got with Zoom. Over to you.
Thank you, Peter. Hi, everyone. So last year, what I was doing was promoting myself as a coach, and the mistakes I was making when I was having those sales conversations with people, I was not able to help them make a decision. And I was struggling. I didn't know even where I was struggling. And I had so many of those conversations and they went nowhere. And nobody was willing to sign up with, like, taking the next steps with me. And I wrapped my head thinking, what is it that I am not doing right? And I've been working with another spiritual coach, and she's asking me to do these things, and I'm trying and I'm trying and I'm trying. It's like beating my head against the wall. What am I not getting right about this? I'm trying so many things and putting myself out there in like written format and videos and stuff like that. Nothing worked. And then through another group, I met Peter, and then I said, okay, let me just follow and learn a little bit about sales, because that's where I probably am struggling. I'm sucking at this. So I learned with Peter how to just, sit with the people who are coming onto those sales calls. And instead of having any agenda of my own, I just sat there and listened to them. And there's like the structure of questions that you need to ask them. And it's exactly what Peter teaches, and he teaches so well. I can't explain how in words, like how lovely, how well he does that. And I learned from Peter's videos. And then I tried that. I tested it out. And when I did that with a third person, it worked. I helped her sit with her pain. And she decided to work with me. And I am so happy that I'm able to do the work that I love doing, the transformation that I create for especially women who are struggling to find relationships, and struggling with self-love. So I really appreciate the learning I have from Peter's videos and everything. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Neha. And by the way, Neha is not a client of mine, right? But she's a perfect example of someone who watched my Facebook Lives before I knew she existed. As everyone was talking about before, Neha is a living, breathing example of that. So, and I'm proud of you, Neha. I'm really proud of you. I'm glad you're doing very well, by the way.
But I comment. I'm not the lurker type.
Yeah, you do. But you
Thank
comment.
you.
Great.
Yeah.
Any questions or any thoughts for Neha? Okay. Mitali, yes.
First of all, I just want to say well done, Neha. I mean, I know it's really, really difficult when you get started, but Peter's great. He's been helping me tons, So I've even got a Peter folder in my Gmail. So that's how important it is. He has his own folder and he sends me stuff and I put it into the folder, and that's in my must do on Sundays when I've got time to breathe, and then I go through his stuff. So yeah, he's got a folder.
Exactly.
You got a folder as well. Yeah, we should all have Peter folders basically, because he just gets an amazing thing. And one thought while you were talking, this kind of just came into my head. I read something a few weeks ago. It was a comparison on sales and marketing from the 80s and what sales and marketing is now. And it was talking about the customer journey, and it's saying in the 80s, the customer journey, usually, they contacted you very early on in their customer journey, because the only way to get more information was to contact you. So the first part of contact would be they hear about you on the radio, they see you in a newspaper, or they see you on TV if you have the money to do a TV advert. The next step is you have to contact the company, and then, they'll send you information in the post, send you a brochure, blah, blah, blah. Now, the comparison was saying that by the time someone even contacts you, they're usually around 75% of the way into buying whatever it is you're selling. So that's why, again, going back to how important it is just to put yourself out there, get on lives, do whatever, because people are watching you. So by the time they even contact you, I found my students, I didn't need to sell them anything because they'd been following me and watching what I was saying. They were kind of pre-sold by the time they got to me. So when they actually put their hands up and said, hey, I want to speak to you, it was really more logistics, which was trying to work out when should they start and exactly does my way of teaching work with them. And then they signed up. There was no really selling involved. So yeah, just going, it seems to be the theme of this week. But yeah, just put yourself out there, get on Facebook Lives, do them from your profile, do stories. Because yeah, people are watching you. And by the time they get to you, you won't even need to sell to them. Oh, as Peter says, be you're in service to them because they already think you're great because they've been watching you anyway.
Good point. But also in those days, Mitali, okay, because I'm old enough to remember them, okay, in those days, salespeople were the source of information. Not anymore.
They were.
Not anymore. Everyone, you can find whatever they want online. So if you're talking to people and trying to take them through information, you're wasting your time and boring them to tears. Anyway, good point. Thank you very much for your feedback, Mitali. And thank you, Neha. Well done. Well done.
Thank you,
All right.
Peter.
Tom, are you there?
Yep, sorry. And I apologize to everybody for just having my mug up there rather than me. As Peter said, it's now 6 a.m. here. I'm still in my PJs. So, but nice meeting everybody. So much awesome stuff here. And you guys have all inspired me to do Facebook Lives. So I'll get there. Side story, I did a kind of what I'm calling a coming out video I think it was last week or so, and pre-recorded it, took out all the ums and all the, whatevers. And I'm stunned that this thing has so far been watched 375 times by my friends. And to somebody's point, I even got a comment from a high school friend. I'm old. It's this is 41 years ago that I graduated. I can't believe I'm that old. And this one high school friend, oh, wow, you are so eloquent on the camera. And I'm like, what? Really? I'm horrible on camera. So I was like, oh, that's so sweet. Anyway, just real quick. And, you know, kind of going back to Penny, her you know, problem is very relatable to me as my biggest business problem was the harder I tried to push or sell something, the less I sold. The stuff that I wasn't trying to sell was the stuff that people, well, I want that over there. And I'm like, wait, what? You know, I'm trying to talk to you about this. And so it was just interesting to me that the more I tried to push whatever I was trying to sell, the less I sold. And I think to Neha's point and other points, it's just like, you have to just sit with people, listen to them, let them, you know, think about it, and then walk away. And then they may come back later and become a client. And especially now I'm going to be doing the Facebook Lives, and people will maybe pay attention to those as well. So, you know, nothing earth shattering, but that's just some takeaways from me.
Tom, it's very earth shattering. Don't be so, that's not right. I mean, you will do very well on Facebook Lives. I've seen your videos. Okay, I've known, and Tom and I go back a long time. Not so much as a coach and client, but as mates, right?
Yep. Yeah, it's been almost exactly 2 years that we met on LinkedIn. You pinged me on LinkedIn.
And I've seen the development taking place in Tom. I'm proud of you.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it.
I want to give you a present, because this is your first time you join with us, and you're sitting there in your pajamas. You got yourself out of bed early, and I appreciate it, right?
Yep.
So I want to give you a bonus, and the bonus is this: for those people here and watching the replay, if you don't have anybody, and this is a promotion, I'm giving you a promotion, okay? And I've got no vested interest in it. If you know anybody who suffers from psoriasis, then talk with Tom. I hope you don't mind me saying this, Tom. Okay?
Nope, absolutely not.
But Tom is the psoriasis guy. Okay, and it's a terrible skin disease. It puts people through a whole lot of emotional as well as physical agony. So if you know anybody that needs some help from a genuine 100% person, then reach out to Tom Petty, because I'm sure Tom will do the right thing with you.
Thank you, Peter. Thank you.
My pleasure. Because guess what? It's your turn.
Thanks.
All right. Thank you very much, mate. Any other comments for Tom? Neha, you have a comment? Yes.
Thomas, have you tried podcasting at all?
That is something that I have chewed on for many years. And I just haven't gotten there, but it's definitely something that I've had in the back of my head. It's like, I need to do that one of these days.
Yeah, I think you can reach, because if it calls to you and you can relate with that, I certainly was called to that, and then I started mine in October, and believe it or not, somebody like reached out to me through my podcast. She didn't sign up with me, same story, but then it was amazing. She was the first person that went and listened to all of my podcasts and related with so many things.
Wow.
So podcasting is a great channel if you want to explore.
Thank you for that. Yeah, I'll definitely move that up on the list.
Yeah, and feel free to connect with me and ask any, because I do it simply from my phone. So happy to.
Okay, interesting. Yeah. All right, cool. Well, I'm going to, if you don't mind, Peter, I'm going to put a link to my Facebook page, or my Facebook profile, and LinkedIn, and I hope people send me a connection request.
I'll add you.
Thank you.
And Tom, if you get a chance, could you put it in the group as well?
Yeah.
Okay, underneath the replay to this video, in the comments,
definitely.
Just do that.
Yep.
Okay. And thank you, Neha. Great suggestion. Good tip about podcasting. Well done. Thank you very much. Anna.
Good morning, everybody. I'm extra quiet today. I hope you enjoyed the break from my opinions. It won't last long. I have allergies, so. Neha, one thing I did want to say is about posting from our lives or whatever from your personal page versus your business pages. In businesses such as ours, when we work directly with people, they want to see often who the person is. So there is not only a disadvantage to posting there, but the advantage is people will check you out no matter what. They want to know what you stand for, what you post, what you're about anyway. So most likely for most of us, this is something to consider as when we are building our reach out plan. In terms of my, I guess, struggles, it's for me, one of the things is for a long time, and I've been in business for over a decade now, is I couldn't understand why the old school way of doing things wouldn't work for me. You have to do this, you must do this, you have to do it this way. When you go networking, you go on your own, you have to do it this way. The rules, there's, as you all know, a million rules. Especially what bro coaches, peddle is, those hypey. You must really be uncomfortable to succeed. Do this and this and this. Everybody has an answer. And I realized with time is that I don't have to do anything I don't want to. And if I don't want to create a business plan, I don't have to. My business is doing quite well. Well, a decade into my business without a business plan. Not everybody needs a business plan. I don't want to do smart goals. My goals will have to be non-smart. That's just how it is. So what is all of this gearing towards is saying is there are some things that are universal knowledge. That doesn't mean that I need to do them how I'm told to do it. I filtered everything through my own internal sort of say formula for business I created. It takes longer than trying, you must do a live or you mustn't do a live or you must only, do this, right? So every time somebody gives me a suggestion, I first consider, do I need a suggestion before I even consider what to do with the suggestion? What I mean? So I am not a comfortable person and not convenient person because I don't necessarily will go and disagree or agree with something as much as if you give me a rock, I need to know, do I need a rock? And even then I'm like, do I need this particular rock or do I need, or if I do, where do I put it? How do I put it? How do I put it in my living room? Or is it going to be a doorstop? Or, so it's more about strategy and looking at all of those tenets of knowledge and paradigms that are given are no longer given in my books. And it's much easier living like this. So that's me.
Appreciate you sharing.
Any
Thank you, Anna.
questions for Anna? Sandy.
Yeah, I was going to say, I find Anna one that likes to break all the rules, go down her own route. Not all. No, but I guess the thing is, I think that, there's so many people giving advice. However, if you let's assume you get some good advice, then I like to say, and it's proof of concept. If it works and you get proof of concept, then you go, hey man, that's fantastic. I learned something really new today. So you get a major breakthrough that way. But it's fascinating. And we're so fortunate. Like, just think about it. You can do podcasts. You can have your own TV program if you like. Yeah. Some people will tune into your channel. Some people won't. But I think the main thing too is, don't take it too serious. Have a lot of fun, and I guarantee you, certainly Facebook Live, you're going to get major breakthroughs. Guarantee it. It might take a bit of time to get comfortable, but you will get comfortable. So to me, is just a fantastic tool, and we're so fortunate.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's about figuring out how to make the tool work for you instead of trying to break through all of your internal, uh, feelings in all of these processes to work for it. And I think for me, it's a mindset that we are too used to taking advice as it is, do Facebook Lives. Well, maybe I don't want to do Facebook lives, but I want to do podcasts, and that works well for me. Maybe it's not, right? It's more about in business. We all know we need to be exposed to our potential target market in some way. How do we do it, and then how is already where I come in terms of thinking, what do I want to do, and what I'm willing to be uncomfortable for, in what way. So it's taking it and using it as a tool that is personalized instead of figuring out if this generic knowledge is useful to me.
That's a tool that you can put in your toolbox if it has proof of concept and works for you.
Yes.
That's the way I like to think of it.
Yes.
Thank you, Sandy. Thank you very much, Anna. Food for thought, by the way. I mean, and Tom, Neha mentioned this to you in terms of podcasting. It is extremely powerful. I was invited last week to do a podcast, did it via a Zoom call, but I didn't know about too much. I knew their target audience from Facebook and LinkedIn, but what I didn't know was the fact that they then put that interview with me on their YouTube channel, and their YouTube channel's got 500,000 subscribers.
Right.
500,000, right? But it cost me a fortune to put myself in front of 500,000 people, right? So you just never know who's watching and who knows what, who's connected to who. So yes, the format, whether it's podcasting or video, is one thing, but the other thing is the outcome you can get from doing it. So good point. Thank you, Anna. And by the way, Anna, she talked about smart goals, but by the way, she's one of the smartest people when it comes to goals I've ever come across. So don't misjudge what Anna's on about there. I know where you're coming from, Anna. Thank you. Mitali.
This is just something. First of all, Anna, get well soon. Bless you. Secondly, your mug. Are you trying to drink from the biggest mug on the planet or something? It's bigger than you.
Yes, that is actually my goal. So I only buy ginormous mugs. People only gift me. This is a gift. People only gift me general.
Factors going. That is genuinely bigger than your skull. It actually is.
It is.
It's just an optical illusion. You just got it close to the camera.
No, it's more than I'm a small woman.
It is really. I was just going to add to that what you just said, Peter, about somebody else putting you on the channel and then getting exposure. That happened to me recently. It's something I forgot to share with you guys. A few weeks ago, I commented. On LinkedIn, you have like a top 10 news that's happening that day. I think Fred's trying to make sure his is now bigger than his skull, but and it was a news item talking about the effects of the pandemic and whether there'll be some good things have happened about the pandemic. It was talking about working from home and whether it's a good thing because now employers are realizing that people are just as productive, if not more productive, at home than they are in offices, So I just made a comment about that saying, well, I've been working from home because I've had my own business since 2014. And I certainly work much harder at home than I ever did in the office. In fact, you'd probably get about 50% productivity with me in the office. The rest of the time I was making tea for everybody and chatting about what soap was on the night before at the water cooler. So I'm definitely more productive at home. I made a comment just simple like that, not expecting anything of it. LinkedIn featured it as a sort of like top 10 comment the following day. And then I had over 400 people like or comment, and then a few people contact me about it. And so, yeah, that might be a tip as well. Just, when you've got time, don't get too crazy about it. But when you've got time, just have a look on LinkedIn and look at what the top 10 things people are talking about and just leave 1 or 2 comments. If LinkedIn pick up on those comments, then it becomes a featured comment that then loads of people see all over LinkedIn.
Good point, Mitali. Really good tip. I've never done that. Thank you.
I didn't even realize I just did it. I was just making a comment, and then they featured it,
Yeah.
and it's still gaining traction now. So, yeah.
Excellent. Thank you. Any other things for Anna? Okay. Thank you, Anna. Oh, sorry, Lisa. Yes.
No, I was just going to say, I can totally relate to a lot of what Anna mentioned. I think what it boils down to is to be ourselves and to figure out what works for us and what feels right and true in our hearts. And rather than trying to fit into other paradigms, is taking all that information and figuring out, well, what feels right for me. So I can totally relate to that. So thank you for sharing that, Anna.
Good. Okay, Lisa. Lucky luck.
There you go. Well, since I started, I was going to say, maybe there's something about rule breakers in Ottawa. We both live in the same city.
Yeah.
So for me, all of the above. So I had, that's what I kept, whenever someone shared their challenge, is like, I think many of us can relate, and this is why it's so important to have these kinds of conversations, because then all of a sudden we don't feel all alone. So yes, lots of different challenges. I think I'll speak about maybe some of the most recent ones. What I noticed is that it boils down to mindset. So I like to go deeper, right? So it's like if I'm experiencing different challenges, be they trying to get traction, getting over my fears or whatnot, I notice that sometimes we just need to go deeper, and it's about mindset. So that's what I've been kind of working on since this period of reflection called COVID. And what I found is that I've spent all this time to figure out that really what I need to do is be myself, and to let go of trying to be perfect, and to show up as myself. And that's how we connect as human beings. So how that translated to my business is, rather than overthinking things, I started following my inspiration. So when COVID first started, I was I had a lot of grief. And the way I experienced it was like I had this heavy feeling, and I wake up in the morning, and it was like, it's not all mine, right? I'm picking up on the grief that I'm hearing from people, or the fears and all that. And in order to kind of counteract that or work through it, I got this inspiration that I want to connect with people. So then I started doing Zooms. So first it started with my Italian family. So there'd be like 60 people on at once yelling and being funny. So I said, well, this is great. So we started doing that. And that kind of helped with level of comfort, right? Because I was very scared to try to do these things. So that helped. And it was wonderful connecting with them. And I love the feeling. So I started talking about, connecting more. And then one morning I woke up and I said, why don't I, because I realized people want to have like deeper discussions online. I said, why don't I have these talks about leadership? And so that's how my now podcast was born. It was through just every Wednesday I decided to have talks about leadership. And I would invite people to register through Eventbrite at the time. That's how I started. And, 20, 30 people would show up, and I would interview someone about leadership. And what I realized then was all the learnings that I had done through Peter, through what I read and whatnot, came back to me, and I decided to repurpose that material. So I would take the audios, I would take clips, I would take some comments and whatnot. And that's how the podcast was born, because I got an opportunity right before Christmas where there was a special initiative here in our province to help businesses, and they would, if you applied and got accepted, you got to work with recent graduates in digital media, et cetera. So they took all my audio and converted it into podcasts, and then taught me how to use Buzzsprout and taught me different things. So my biggest lesson out of that is to follow the inspiration, have fun, stop trying to be super perfect, have fun, go with it, be delighted in the opportunities, and that creates great energy, and people want to be part of that. And whether they're clients or not, really at the end of the day, it's building those relationships and connecting, and it's been going well. So that's kind of my learning that I wanted to share this morning.
Excellent, Lisa. Any questions for Lisa? Because enthusiasm is contagious. And you're looking at
Lisa, can you post a link to your podcast?
you'll ever see.
Yeah, sure, I will. It's called Little Talks. So it stands for Light Your Leadership Talks, LYLtalks.com. And you can reach it, but I'll put it right here for you. Thank you.
Can you also pop it in the comments?
Yep.
Okay. Mitali, you had a question too for Lisa?
Yeah, I was just also going to ask where's the podcast so I can have a listen to it and maybe share it and everything. So yeah, that'd be great. Another thing was like, yeah, the whole perfectionism thing. I absolutely get that. I was going to say, do you prefer Thomas or do you prefer Tom? Do I sound like your mother if I call you Thomas or?
Yeah, well, I usually go by Tom, but there's the other Tom Petty, so I brand myself online as Thomas. But I'll answer to either one, even hey you.
I'll go with Tom because I'm just thinking I probably sound like I'm shouting at you like your mother if I say Thomas. So let's go,
only if you use my middle name.
I'll just say good day, mate.
One.
Let's go with Tom. Let's go with Tom.
There you go.
So, what you were saying about before about doing videos and you cut out the ums and the ahs. And the reason why I like lives instead of doing videos is because you're allowed to have the ums and the ahs. And that's kind of why I like it. What worries me about videos is that I can think, oh God, they need to be more polished because people expect them to be more polished because it's a recording. So they expect you to say that you're not to trip over your words and that kind of thing. And I love the fact that on my lives, I do trip over my words all the time. My brain thinks a lot faster than my mouth can keep up with. So you'll see me in my life say things like, oh, I'm sorry, let me just say that again. Let me just put my teeth back in my mouth. And you'll hear me say things like that in my lives. And it's really funny. I remember a couple of days ago, I literally forgot what day and time it was. And I just had this brain fog and I just went, oh my God, all the days are rolling into one under this pandemic because I'm in lockdown. And I instantly got a comment from somebody in the US who I didn't even realize was following me and went, oh yeah, she called it a name like a groundhog, but she called it her own, like Groundhog Day, but she had her own term for it because I said that. So yeah, what Lisa said about don't try and be perfect. It's actually the imperfections that make people like you in a strange way.
Love it.
Two
That's
great
good.
points, Lisa. Letting go of perfectionism is really a great tip. There's no doubt about that, right? Just be their imperfect self and they'll love you anyway. Yep. And the other thing was repurposing. Very good tip. Very good tip. Anything else from anybody? Anna.
Lisa, when you were speaking, I remembered a quote I read recently by parental blogger, so I know it doesn't really sound up my alley, but when whatever flows with the mood I go with, and it goes be stubborn but flexible. Be stubborn about your goals but flexible about how you get to them. And I think that that's something that we sometimes forget, that we need to have the open mind to work with something and not just take something as for this is how it's done, right? Is it you look for what if you don't have fun or enjoy your business, other people won't enjoy being clients, colleagues, collaborators with you, right? Everything is a drag. And I think that's something when in terms of moving things along to the way that to your beat of the drum. How do you call it? The beat of your drum? Something like that. Yeah. Right. So that's something that we often forget because we just focus on a hustle. So.
Yeah. Well, thank you. That's a great quote. And I would even add to that sometimes I think it's wonderful to have a vision. I spend a lot of time visioning, right, and reflecting on where I want to go. But how we get there is not always clear. And sometimes it's inspiration. Like I literally woke up one morning with this thought, right? And I think when we become too rigid, we don't necessarily take those opportunities. We say, oh, well, it doesn't really, add to this. But I had no idea that by following that inspiration, it would turn into a podcast. So sometimes the answers come to us and we need to be open enough to listen to those whispers, because it really could be, I mean, it's one of the most fun things I'm doing right now. And people are enjoying it and they're learning, because one of my big life goals is to get the message out there about compassionate leadership and how to treat one another, in a respectful, courageous, compassionate way in workplaces. And so again, let's not dismiss when we have those whispers, because they come from somewhere and they're important to follow, and they don't always line up to our plan. And this is one thing I've learned over the years is some things happen that I could never have planned. I could never have planned them that well. So, just being open to that.
Thank you, Lisa. Neha, you had a question for Lisa?
No, I didn't have a
Oh,
question.
I thought you had your hand up. Sorry.
for
Okay.
Lisa.
Right.
I actually had a comment for Tom.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, with regards to the speaking and the imperfection. Yesterday, I was on a webinar talking to about 200 people, very engaged crowd, and they were loving it. And it was like, being live just like this, it can be daunting for many. But then if you go and thinking about public speaking, and it's daunting for many people, but then think about you're talking to someone like a friend, and do you think that friend is going to judge you? And then just sharing from that space is probably going to help you ease your own judgment for yourself, if it comes across as that.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Yeah, nah, that's it.
Yeah,
So,
well, paradoxically, I love public speaking. I love getting
Yeah.
up in front of a crowd and talking and engaging. And I think the hardest part for me with Facebook Live or any of those kinds of things is just you're just talking into the void. You can't engage with people. You can't, does anybody have any, it's hard to engage directly with people. So I think that's part of what I struggle with a little bit too.
okay.
Anna, you had a question as well? Anna? No, you didn't have a question? All right. Well, look, thank you, everybody, because we've gone for an hour and a half. I really appreciate your input and your enthusiasm and your passion, as always. And I'm hoping you can join me and join us again next week for these sessions. If you're getting some value from it, I really hope you are. Please make sure you're reaching out to everybody. Next week's topic, by the way, courtesy of Anna. Thank you, Anna. And I'll give it to you a little later on, but it's all about your favorite quote, all right, and what it means to you. So once again, thank you very much. Take care. Have a wonderful weekend. Okay.
Nice meeting everybody.
Bye, everybody.
Thank you,
Bye,
everybody.
everyone. Thanks,
Thank you,
Peter.
Peter.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye.
Bye. Nice
Bye.
to